which Chevalier wig is the best one?
Season 3.
I feel like they're all individual. I think in season 2, if you look at through pictures of your mom when growing up, you see all of her like different hairstyles that she tried. Some of them were wins and some of them were losses, and so season 2 was a loss. It was the Shirley Temple, and season 3 was a win. Season 3 was the Farrah Fawcett. So yeah.
How did you find out you had gotten your roles, and where did you think it would take you in your careers when you got it?
I found out at my cottage in Canada, which is where I am, where I find out about all of my major roles. It seems like I just live there. I didn't know how it was going to affect my life, but I was super excited. It was like one of the first, like one of the greatest auditions that when you have an audition and you start to salivate, you're like, ooh, this would be a good one. This was one of those ones for me. So this would be good.
I found out in New York. It was my press night for Macbeth. I was on Broadway, and my agent flew all the way from the UK to Broadway. And after my press night, where press nights are so full of casting directors and you've just shown your baby to the world, my agent said, oh, by the way, you're going to go to France for 8 months. You got the part. And what I didn't think is that it would lead to having such a huge, beautiful community around us of supportive fans, and who will go through thick and thin for all of us, and spend half an hour watching a Vimeo of me and Evan trying to come out of the closet. It's unbelievable that even now, however many years past the show, that the show we cared so much for our characters, and no matter how much the success of the show is, that's up for everyone's personal thing, but the actual enjoyment and the fact that we get to do this now is the joy of it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was your favorite costume in the series, and were you able to take something from the set?
Well, I took the shoes, the famous, well, you haven't seen the shoes, the 500,000 franc shoes.
Nobody's seen them since.
No, they're actually doorstops. My favorite attire, never the dresses, even though I looked brilliant, I think I loved the war-plated Philippe. It was always sort of mirrored opposite George. So whatever George's Louis gold, they always tried to match me with a sort of silver, but it was so nice to just be like, you're out in a field where, he's all in black with this plate. It just made me feel amazing.
What?
Evs, please say the blue curtains is your favorite costume.
Yeah. Once I came flouncing in wearing like a new costume that I really liked it, and I turned the corner and I like walked into Al, and he was like, "Why do you look like a pair of curtains?" And I was like, oh. Actually, I loved the jackets. I think they look so cool. Also, they look so different if you're wearing a wig and if you're not wearing a wig. If you're not wearing a wig, you look like some sort of like fancy sea admiral or something like that. And I know that because I wear one without a wig sometimes because I kept one of the jackets. And like our costumer, like basically it was like the Underground Railroad of costumes. And she was like, don't, and she like shushed me out the back door. And like, she's like, hide it under your arm and don't let anyone see. So I literally like smuggled it out.
So good.
Caught by the French police, but I had accomplices.
From your overall Versailles experience, what dearest moments will remain forever in your memory?
Weirdly, for me, it's actually not the time that I spent shooting, because it all sort of blurred a bit into one, but actually the times, not when the cameras were rolling, the meals that we had as a cast, the drinks that we'd had, the birthdays that we celebrated together, the press tours that me, you, and us 3 boys did in LA together, like those memories and the fun that we have off camera was more important and more memorable and stayed with me and still does stay with me, rather than the time shooting, because shooting sometimes felt like work. It was fun work, but it's still, you know, early calls, five, 6 scenes a day. So the idea that the stuff that we did post it and around it and the trips, I mean, I got to go to Washington, New York, Monte Carlo, Nice, Cannes, and all because of this show, and meet these wonderful people that worked with it. So I'm forever grateful. But yeah, it seems to be the memories around the show that mean the most to me.
It was like getting to live in Paris at all was like a dream. So it was like living this double layered cake of a dream. So I got to live in Paris and have this amazing European experience. I'd never lived in Europe before, and apartment, and have all these amazing French people through the crew and through the cast to hang out with, and then go into Versailles and put on these crazy costumes and enter a whole different world. So it was like when I left the work at Versailles for the day, I would leave that dream and go into the other dream. So yeah, it was like a cultural smorgasbord. It was a smorgasbord for me. I think it goes without saying that, like, the friendships that we made, like knowing that I'm like I'm gonna be friends with these boys for the rest of my life. Like, they say that, the people always say like, oh, we got along great. We're still hanging out like all these years later.